We begin with an Amber Alert and the desperate search for a missing 2-month-old baby girl. Authorities are looking for Elsie Ardolino. CBI issued this alert, adding that she was taken by her parents, Ashley Ardolino and Luis Novella Rojos. The sheriff's office says Elsie may be in danger. She had been living with another family member before her mother made some disturbing statements. The parents and the baby girl were last seen in the area of Alameda and Havana Streets in Aurora today. They are believed to be in the Denver area. Law enforcement was looking for a car. They have since found the car. If you see them, call 911 or the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office. Days after a decision not to charge a deputy for tasing a man in the middle of I-25, the family has released video of what happened. We want to warn you, we are going to show you some of that video before we cut away because the man is hit by a driver on I-25 and killed.
Now, the Larimer County DA this week said that the deputy used poor judgment, but that there was no criminal culpability as far as the police officer's actions in the traffic stop. The family, though, wants that deputy charged. Here with more is 9 News reporter Steve Stager.
Where I'm stopping you is your registration's expired.
It starts simple enough.
It's my girlfriend's car, actually.
Okay.
A traffic stop just off of I-25 in Loveland. But what plays out in the next few minutes is enough to give anyone chills.
It is one of these horrific videos that you simply cannot unsee. It is buried and burned in my mind.
Brent Thompson's attorney and his family, they want you to see this video, though we won't show you the full extent of it here because it's too graphic. That's Thompson in the blue sedan, but he tells the deputy he's someone else.
What's your last name?
Jones.
Jones?
Yeah.
What's your first name?
Jacob.
That's going to be key. The deputy spends a few minutes back in his patrol car checking that name in the computer. Then he realizes it's a fake name and confronts Thompson.
It is the right name.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Brent, I know. So right now you're under arrest.
Thompson bolts towards I-25, the deputy threatening to stun him with a taser.
Stop me or you tase!
He jumps the guardrail, starts to run across the highway, and the deputy makes good on his threat, stunning Thompson in the middle of a lane of traffic. We'll stop the video short of where the inevitable happens.
My son got tased and his face was facing forward, and the only thing that my son could do, being charged with energy, is seeing 2 headlights coming towards him.
Last week, Larimer DA Gordon McLaughlin declined to charge the deputy for Thompson's death, saying what you see in the video shows poor judgment but not criminal culpability. Thompson's grieving family wants more.
This man took a responsibility to pull a trigger, incapacitate my kid for 5 seconds. There is no justice here.
Now, within the last few minutes, I actually heard from the Larimer County Sheriff's Office. They say after an internal investigation into this case, they determined that the deputy's actions, including the use of a taser on the highway, was within policy. They say to expect a longer statement from the sheriff at some point later on today. In the meantime, Thompson's family has said in a statement released along with this video that they plan to seek justice in civil court, potentially filing a lawsuit. I should mention, guys, that I talked to a use of force expert today who told me that it is policy that all officers should be trained to make sure to not use a taser when a suspect is in a vulnerable position unless that suspect poses a threat. In this situation, there didn't appear to be a threat. He was running away from the officer and in the middle of a highway where he's obviously in danger if he's suddenly incapacitated.
Steve, we've talked about this many times about the changes in all of our lives now with these body cam videos that we get to see. They're really hard to watch. They also show you what can happen in just a matter of a minute or a second, and how something that might be benign on a normal procedure suddenly turns into something horrific and tragic.
Yeah, absolutely. It was 7 seconds between the time that the taser was deployed while Thompson was there in the roadway and when that SUV made its way through that lane, kind of trying to stop. You see the brake lights turn on as they see a body in the roadway. So a very quick situation. But again, yeah, we would not know what happened in this case had we not gotten this body camera video.
Tough to watch again. All right, Steve Stager, thanks. Well, there are some storms firing up around the Denver area. Beautiful look at Boulder now, where you can just see some clouds, but otherwise just another warm day. DIA, though, has found another ground stop because of the storms out to the east side of town.
That seems almost every other day these days, Kathy. And it's always late in the afternoon when these things happen.
Yeah, it's a pretty typical summer pattern. You guys, you know, we wake up to the sunshine, we get the clouds building to the west of us in the early afternoon, and then they move to the east between about 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And that's kind of what we're seeing. Any amount of moisture that you have with heating of the day is going to produce some convection, some clouds. Some of those clouds will produce wind and lightning, others rain, but that's enough to mess up travel in and out of DIA. We're seeing signs that the monsoon may be beginning, and that means a cooler weather trend, but not till next week, and a better chance of rain from storms instead of hail and severe weather like dangerous wind and lightning. So that's a pattern shift we're looking for early next week. Today was hot, though. We're seeing those afternoon clouds. 85 in Denver with a passing thunderstorm through the north metro area. So we've come down about 10 degrees here in the last hour. 102 in Pueblo, 100 Lamar, 98 in Grand Junction. Storms have a lot of lightning. Lightning detection kind of going on overdrive here. We're seeing a couple of storms outside of Silver Plume up toward Boulder and Broomfield, a second cluster of storms down toward the Carville area. These storms are dropping a little bit of rain, a lot of wind and lightning, and this cell down here in El Paso County severe due to the potential for some hail as it tracks off toward the east. That storm has moved through Calhoun and is now headed for the Carville area. Up north, Boulder, just outside of Evergreen, we're seeing a bit of lightning. There's lightning to the south of Conifer too. So far, Evergreen pretty dry. We're hoping that it stays that way. We don't want to have the wind and lightning across a large area of the foothills, obviously, but it's out on the eastern plains where the focus will be for hail-producing thunderstorms later tonight. Futurecast shows 1 or 2 fast-moving storms moving through between now and about 11 o'clock, and then we get some clearing overnight. We do this all over again tomorrow. We've cooled back a little bit because of these passing thunderstorms, so we're in the 80s, so kind of nice compared to where we were this time yesterday. We'll continue to track these evening storms. We'll have a radar update showing you where the rain showers are and talk about the potential for record highs. That's all just ahead.
Speaking of the weather, there's a new fire burning in Teller County, and it forced some people to leave their homes this afternoon. It's burning between Divide and Florissant, not too far from Highway 24. The Teller County Sheriff had previously told people living in the Palmer Village subdivision to get out. Now they've scaled that back to a pre-evacuation warning, essentially meaning that people near the fire should just be prepared to leave. And at this point, we still don't know how big the fire is or how it started.
A warning for women tonight from investigators in Jefferson County. They're looking for a man who has exposed himself to female hikers or tried to assault them on a trail. It's happened at least 7 times since this spring. Also, some people may find some of the details of this case disturbing. We want to warn you. 9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles joins us from one of the very populated parks listed in this case, Alder for Three Sisters. That's right in the heart of Evergreen, Jenny.
Yep, and this park is one of the parks, guys, as is Flying J Ranch Park. Both of these are very popular. Both of these are not very remote, pretty busy parks. But since April, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office has 7 different reports of women filing cases about this guy, and the most of those reports came in just in the last couple of weeks. The Sheriff's Office says the suspect is targeting women who are hiking alone and is surprising them from behind. It's really terrible stuff. It's getting more aggressive. At times he's been fully naked, exposing himself, even touching the women.
We are just incredibly concerned because in this latest incident, which was just on Monday, he was fully exposed himself. He grabbed her and he tried to rip her clothes off. That is the first most aggressive so far. None of these are okay. All of them are dangerous. All of them are very scary for anyone hiking, and it's obviously scary for law enforcement. But it's getting worse. Because he's at large, because he continues to be more and more aggressive, hiking alone is not really a safe option right now.
So this guy is still on the run at this point. Jefferson County's trying to alert hikers. They do not know if this man lives around here or if he's coming here for this very reason. However, Jefferson County is moving to put up signage, those digital signs that you see along the road, as well as signs at the trailhead, just to warn hikers before they even get out here. The description on the suspect is very vague, so Jefferson County says just be hyper aware. And you heard them say this already, but they want to make it very, very, very clear. But if you're a woman, this is not the time, Jefferson County says, to be hiking alone. Go with friends. Don't go by yourself. Guys.
Yeah, as tempting as it may be, don't do it alone. All right, thank you, Jenny.
A family's 3-year struggle against the system trying to raise their own son appears to not be an isolated incident. Now the state is being asked to review 4 years' worth of child welfare cases in one Colorado county. Here with that story is 9 News reporter Courtney Yoon.
I feel that they're on a power trip.
3 years, 5 months, and 10 days.
They minimized everything.
That's how long Carter Thornton spent in foster care.
They told us that they did not think that we would get sober.
While his parents fought against the Washington County Department of Human Services for custody of their own son.
I blame the department. 100%.
Turns out they weren't alone.
We received a significant number of complaints from citizens in that jurisdiction.
More families in Washington County,
8 cases that involved over 10 children in 6 different families,
got the same treatment.
There may have been a bias against helping and supporting parents the way that law and practice requires them to be treated.
These complaints led Colorado's Child Protection Ombudsman Stephanie Villafuerte to alert the state about what was happening in Washington County.
We have concerns about their practice, and we want the department to review our concerns.
Concerns that there may also be systemic bias in the administration. Villafuerte is requesting a timely and thorough review of all child welfare cases under the supervision of former director Grant Smith.
The bigger concern is the practices that occurred under his supervision.
Grant Smith resigned in December after an internal investigation led to families receiving letters from the county attorney expressing concerns of bias in their child welfare cases. Carter's parents, case number 1, got one of these letters. Case 3's letter read, "The former director of Washington County Department of Human Services made an offhand comment that he believes the mother in this case was ugly."
I've seen cases where I didn't understand why the department was taking the position that they were.
Jeff Wells represents the mother in case 4, who alleges that Washington County initiated a child welfare case without cause against the mother, other than the staff's personal relationship with the father.
When I saw this report, I was a little excited. I'm hoping that these complaints that the parents have had, that I have had, are being heard and we can make meaningful change.
The concerns that my office found were significant enough that we believed we had to alert the State Department sooner than later.
Put your feet in there.
So that moving forward, other families don't have the same complaints as these 6 families.
The ego of the people in the department got in the way of their better judgment, and it's stuck that way for 3.5 years.
When we see multiple violations of state law and/or regulation, it raises the flag. Somebody needs to know this because it's impacting real lives.
Yeah. With photojournalist Anna Hewson, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
And Grant Smith is now working for Morgan County DHS. The Washington County internal investigation remains sealed, pending a Supreme Court decision. And the state legislature now holding an interim session over the next 3 months, investigating a multitude of issues within Colorado's child welfare system.
6 horses have been rescued in Douglas County. Deputies say they were malnourished to the point where their rib cages and hip bones were sticking out. The rescue came after an anonymous tip. Besides being hungry, they found the barn they were in was in terrible shape, filled with feces and flies. The owner, the homeowner, and animal caretaker, they've been summoned for misdemeanor animal cruelty. Jaleesa Irizarry has much more on 9 News at 5.
Police say they continue to look for an inmate who escaped the Bent County Jail with 3 other inmates in southeastern Colorado on Sunday. The sheriff's office say the 4 inmates pushed through a drywall ceiling to escape. One of those inmates later found dead in Pueblo. The sheriff's office says that death being considered a possible drug overdose. 2 other men were taken into custody in Pueblo after calling an ambulance for an overdose as well. But police continue to search for this man, 46-year-old Mark Fox. Authorities say he should be considered dangerous. Our partners in Colorado Springs report that Fox was sentenced to 64 years for 2 counts of second-degree assault.